I want to tell you about the day I became obsolete. Not fired, not laid off, not downsized, obsolete. That is the word the HR manager used, though not to my face. I found it in the internal memo that someone forwarded to me 3 days after the meeting. As we transition to automated systems, certain roles will become obsolete. Certain roles, 26 years of my life, described as a certain role. My name is Gary. I am 52 years old. I live in Dayton, Ohio. I worked at the same auto parts manufacturing plant from the age of 26 until last Tuesday, when a robot that cost the company $400,000 took my job and the jobs of 37 other people on my shift and will pay for itself within 18 months and never call in sick and never ask for a raise and never need a pension. I'm not angry at the robot. The robot did not make a choice. Robots do not make choices. That is the whole point of them. I am angry at something larger and harder to name, and I'm going to spend the next few minutes trying to name it. Because what is happening to me is happening to millions of Americans right now, and most of them do not have anyone telling their story. So let me tell it. I grew up in Dayton. My father worked at the GM plant. His father worked at the GM plant. We were a factory family in a factory town in a state that used to be called the heart of American manufacturing. I was not a kid who dreamed of college. I was a kid who dreamed of a steady paycheck and a house with a yard and enough left over at the end of the month to take my family to a Reds game twice a summer. Those are not small dreams. Those are the dreams that built this country. And for a long time, a good long time, they were achievable. I started at the plant at 26, entry level, floor work. It was loud and hot and physically hard, and I loved it. Not the way people in movies love their jobs with passion and calling and purpose, but the way real people love real work. Steadily, reliably, with the quiet satisfaction of doing something well every day and going home knowing exactly what you contributed. I got married at 28. My wife Linda works at the school district, administrative assistant, 21 years. We have two kids. Daughter is 24, works at a dental office in Columbus. Son is 19, starting community college in the fall. We own our house. We have a small savings account. We have a dog named Biscuit who is 11 years old and costs us $400 a month in medication because he has a bad hip, but we are not getting rid of Biscuit. This is my life. I built it with my hands. Literally, the parts I assembled at that plant went into cars that went onto roads all over this country. There is a piece of me in 100,000 vehicles on American highways right now. Last Tuesday, that stopped mattering. They called us in at 2 in the afternoon, all of us from the B shift, 38 people. We sat in the meeting room, and a man from corporate who I had never seen before stood at the front with a PowerPoint presentation. The presentation was called Operational Evolution. I remember that. Operational Evolution. Like what was happening to us was natural, like we were being evolved rather than erased. He talked for 20 minutes. He used words like efficiency and optimization and next generation infrastructure. He showed graphs, productivity curves going up, cost curves going down. He showed photographs of the new robotic system. It was sleek and modern, and I will admit, impressive in the way that things are impressive when they are about to destroy you. Then he said it. He said that effective in 60 days, the B shift assembly line would be fully automated. He said that affected employees would receive a severance package, 6 weeks pay per year of service, capped at 26 weeks. He said there would be retraining resources available. He said the company was committed to supporting its workforce through this transition. Nobody said anything for a moment. Then a woman named Cheryl. She has been on the line for 19 years. She brings homemade cookies every Friday without fail. Raised her hand and asked, "What do we retrain for?" The corporate man paused. He said there were opportunities in the tech sector and logistics and service industries. He said the job market was evolving and there were resources to help navigate that evolution. Cheryl said, "I am 54 years old. I have done this job for 19 years. What specific job am I retraining for?" He did not have an answer. That silence, that specific corporate, carefully managed silence, is the most honest thing that happened in that room all afternoon. The first morning I wake up without a job, my alarm goes off at 5:30. Force of habit. 26 years of 5:30 alarms do not stop because a PowerPoint told them to. I lie there for a while. The ceiling looks the same. The room sounds the same. Biscuit is at the foot of the bed making the noise he makes when he wants breakfast. Everything is the same, except the thing that structured all of it is gone. I get up. I make coffee. I sit at the kitchen table with my coffee and my phone, and I stare at the severance paperwork they emailed me. 26 weeks, 6 months. After 26 years. Linda comes downstairs. She does not say anything. She knows me well enough to know that I do not need words right now. I need someone to just be in the room. She makes toast. She sits across from me. We drink our coffee. After a while, she says, "What do you want to do today?" And I say, "I have no idea." I have not said those words in 26 years. I have always known what I was doing today. Today I'm going to work. Today I am on the B shift. Today I am assembling parts on line 3. That was my answer every day for 26 years, and the absence of it feels like a missing tooth. The specific hollow ache of something that used to be there. I open my laptop. I go to a job search website. I type in my skills: assembly line, quality control, forklift certified, team leadership. The results come back. There are 11 jobs in the Dayton area that match. 7 of them pay significantly less than I was making. 3 of them are in warehouses that are, according to recent news articles I have read, also in the process of automating their operations. One of them is a greeter position at a large retail store. I close the laptop. Let me tell you what is happening in this country right now. Because Gary's story is not an exception, it is a pattern. According to the McKinsey Global Institute, up to 800 million jobs worldwide could be displaced by automation by 2030. In the United States alone, estimates suggest between 39 and 73 million jobs are at high risk of automation in the next decade. Manufacturing jobs, the jobs that built the American middle class, that gave families like mine a stable foundation, are disappearing at a rate that has no historical precedent. Between 2000 and 2010, America lost 5.6 million manufacturing jobs. A third of those losses are now attributed directly to automation, not trade, not outsourcing, automation. And here is the part that never makes it into the press releases about the exciting future of AI. The workers being displaced are disproportionately older. They are disproportionately from small and mid-sized cities in the Midwest and South, places where the factory was not just a job, but the economic foundation of an entire community. When the plant automates, it is not just Gary who loses his income. It is the diner where Gary eats lunch. It is the hardware store where Gary buys supplies. It is the school where Gary's tax dollars paid for teachers. It is a whole ecosystem, quietly collapsing. The retraining programs that companies and governments promise are largely ineffective. Studies consistently show that displaced manufacturing workers who participate in retraining programs end up, on average, earning significantly less than they did before, often 40% less in their new roles. The jobs they retrain for frequently do not exist in the communities where they live. And at 52, with a mortgage and a college-age son and a dog with a bad hip, moving across the country for an entry-level tech job is not a realistic option. The technology is not the villain of this story. Technology has always changed work: the cotton gin, the assembly line, the computer. Change is not inherently wrong. What is wrong is the absence of a plan for the people in the middle of the change. The assumption that the market will figure it out. The PowerPoint presentations about operational evolution that do not contain a single answer to Cheryl's question. On Thursday afternoon, I go bowling. I know how that sounds, but the Thursday afternoon league at Eastwood Lanes has been the same group of guys for 11 years, and right now, I need something that has not changed. Dave is there, retired GM, 61, pension just barely covering his bills. Rick is there, still working at a warehouse in Moraine, but worried, always worried now, because he read the same articles I read. Marcus is there, lost his job at a call center 8 months ago when the company switched to an AI customer service system. Still looking. We bowl, we drink beer, we talk about the Reds. And then, because we are all men of a certain age in a certain situation, we talk about it sideways, not directly, because directly is too much, but sideways. Rick says, my nephew says I should learn to prompt AI systems, says there's good money in it. I asked him what that means and he explained it, and I still don't fully understand it. Marcus says I applied for 43 jobs in 8 months. You know how many called me back? 6. You know how many of those 6 were worth taking? None. Dave says nothing for a while. Then he says, you know what I miss? I miss knowing what I was for. I knew what I was for every day for 34 years. Now I get up and I'm just here, taking up space. That lands on the table between us, and nobody argues with it because we all feel it. That specific quiet devastation of a person who built their identity around their contribution and has had their contribution taken away. We are not lazy. We are not unskilled. We are not unwilling to adapt. We are men and women who gave decades to an industry that decided we were certain roles, and certain roles had become obsolete, and the future did not have a column in its spreadsheet for what happens to the people in the obsolete column. Friday night, my son Tyler is home from his girlfriend's place for dinner. He is 19. He is starting community college in the fall, undecided on a major, which used to worry me, and now I find I cannot bring myself to push him toward anything because I genuinely do not know what to tell him. After dinner, he asks me how I'm doing. He asks it carefully, the way young people ask when they want to know the real answer but are not sure they're ready for it. I tell him the truth. I say, I'm scared. I don't say it to worry him. I say it because he is about to enter this world, and he deserves to know what it actually looks like. He asks me what I think he should study, and I am quiet for a moment because this is the question I have been dreading. 20 years ago, I would have said, learn a trade, get into manufacturing, good steady work, good pay, respectable life. That is what my father told me, and he was right. 10 years ago, I would have said, learn computers. Tech is the future. That is what everyone said. Today, I genuinely do not know because the trades are automating, because entry-level tech jobs are being replaced by AI tools that do in seconds what junior developers used to do in days, because the advice that was true for my father's generation was not entirely true for mine, and the advice that was true for mine may not be true for Tyler's. I say, find something that requires being human, being present, being in a room with another person who needs something that a machine cannot give them: care, judgment, creativity, connection. He thinks about that. Then he says, is that enough? Will that pay the bills? And I say, I hope so. I genuinely hope so. It is the most honest thing I have said to my son in years, and it terrifies me that honest is all I have to give him. I want to be clear about something before I finish. I am not anti-technology. I am not against progress. I grew up watching technology change everything, and I understand that it will keep changing everything, and that is not inherently wrong. But progress is a choice. And right now, America is making a choice, or rather, the companies that shape America's economy are making a choice. And the choice is this: efficiency over people, speed over stability, shareholder returns over the workers who created those returns for decades. The robot that took my job will make the company more profitable. That profit will go to shareholders. The shareholders will be very pleased. The stock price will go up. Someone in a boardroom will get a bonus. And Cheryl will go home and sit at her kitchen table and try to figure out what she is retraining for at 54. And Marcus will apply for his 44th job. And Dave will get up tomorrow and feel like he is taking up space. And Tyler will start college in the fall, carrying a question his father could not answer. This is the cost of operational evolution. This is what the productivity curves do not show. This is what happens in the column that the spreadsheet does not have. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking for something harder than sympathy. I'm asking for a conversation, a real one, not a PowerPoint, not a policy paper, not a talking point, about what kind of country we want to be in the age of AI, about whether efficiency is the only value worth optimizing for, about what we owe each other when the future arrives faster than people can adapt to it. Because the future is coming whether we have that conversation or not. The robots are being installed whether Gary is ready or not. The question is not whether the world is going to change. The question is whether we change it together or whether we let it happen to the people least equipped to survive it and call that progress. I have 6 months of severance. I have a house and a wife and a son starting college and a dog with a bad hip. I have 26 years of experience that the job market has decided is worth 11 search results, 7 of which pay less than I made. I am going to be okay. I think. I hope. But I need you to know that okay is not the same as what I had. And what I had was not extravagant. It was just a life, a steady, honest, working life that I built with my hands. And I would like anyone to tell me why that stopped being enough. Gary is a fictional composite, but his story is happening right now to millions of real Americans in real towns across this country. The names change, the plants change, the PowerPoint presentations do not. If this made you think, share it, because the conversation Gary is asking for does not happen unless people like you start it. Subscribe to Borrowed Lives, a new life every week, a new perspective every time. See you in the next Borrowed Life.